Have you ever met someone whose consistency is just so relentless, so unwavering, that it's kind of scary? I'm not talking about someone who's just pretty good at sticking to a diet or hitting the gym. I mean a level of discipline that seems like it's from another planet. A daily practice so locked in that it just looks superhuman. Well, today, we're not just going to admire that discipline, we're going to take it apart, piece by piece, and give you the actual blueprint to build it for yourself.
Let's just sit with that for a second. This isn't about getting praise or a pat on the back. This is about forging a will so solid, a routine so unbreakable, that it makes other people question their own reality of what's possible. It's inspiring, sure, but it also makes them a little uncomfortable because your actions become a quiet shutdown of every excuse they've ever told themselves. We see these people, these outliers, and we just have to wonder,
What in the world is their secret? Is it some rare genetic gift, some bottomless well of willpower, or maybe they live a life free from all the chaos that messes the rest of us up? Nope, the answer is none of the above. Their secret isn't some treat they were born with. It's a system, a really elegant, ancient, and honestly, devastatingly effective system from Zen philosophy called Gyoji. It's a framework that isn't built on willpower. It's built to make willpower totally irrelevant. And once you see how it works, you'll get how to build a practice that literally cannot fail. But before we can build this unbreakable system, we've got to understand the flimsy one that, let's be honest, most of us are stuck in. To do that, let's meet a guy named Raphael. Now, Raphael is a super successful software engineer. He's brilliant, logical, and really motivated. But he had this secret recurring failure. No matter what new habit he tried to build, working out, meditating, writing, he could never, ever make it stick for more than a few weeks. He was just trapped in this loop. Does this cycle feel a little painfully familiar? It's the universal pattern of pretty much every broken resolution. On Monday, Raphael would wake up feeling like a superhero, just a fortress of resolve. He'd crush his workout, eat perfectly, feel absolutely invincible. But then Wednesday would roll around, and that little voice of negotiation would start to creep in. You worked really hard yesterday. Maybe just take a rest day. By Friday, that whisper becomes a full-on roar. After a long week, the negotiation's over and the old habits win. He completely surrenders, promising himself, okay, that's it, for real this time. Monday, I'll start fresh on Monday. It's like a psychological prison, and the bars are made of our own broken promises. So Raphael felt like a total failure. He tried every trick you could imagine, motivational posters, habit tracking apps, rewards, even telling his friends to hold him accountable. But nothing worked. And here's the absolute key. It wasn't his fault. His failure wasn't because of some character flaw or a lack of desire. He was, without knowing it, waging a war against the fundamental wiring of his own brain. Our brains are basically efficiency engines, right? They're designed to save energy and always find the path of least resistance. By relying on daily motivation, Raphael was just fighting the wrong battle over and over and over again. Raphael's big breakthrough came from a place he never would have expected, the ancient practices of Zen monks. These are communities that have kept up identical, rigorous daily practices for centuries. Not just for years, but for centuries, without a single break. He realized their secret wasn't some superhuman willpower. It was a system so profound and yet so simple that it completely short-circuited the brain's negotiation tactics. And this right here is the heart of it all, Gyoji. Continuous practice without gaps. Think about this. At the Aiheiji Temple in Japan, a bell has rung at 3:30 a.m. every single morning since the year 1200. And every single morning, the monks get up. There's no snooze button, there's no debate, there is zero mental negotiation about whether they feel like it. The very idea of a gap, of a day off, just doesn't exist in their world. And this eliminates the single most draining part of any discipline, the daily decision to even start. Now, what's so fascinating here is how this reveals what's happening inside our heads. Our brains basically sort every commitment we make into one of two boxes. The reversible box is for things we try to do. Just using the word try signals to our brain that failure is an option, and that kicks the door wide open for endless negotiation. But the irreversible box, that's where things that are a part of who we are. When a doctor takes an oath, they become a healer. When a parent holds their newborn, they become a protector. The goal isn't to try to do the habit, it's to make the habit a part of your identity. You have to physically move that commitment from the box of things I do to the box of who I am. So, okay, that's the big challenge, right? How do we, in our crazy, chaotic, modern lives, move a simple goal like work out every day from that flimsy, reversible box into the ironclad, irreversible one? How did Raphael do it?
Well, he didn't just wish for it, he built a fortress around his commitment using a clear 4-step process. So let's break down the 4 pillars of a modern Gyoji system.
These are the 4 pillars. And look at how they work together. These are not just tips. This is a systematic attack on every single loophole your brain will try to use against you. Each pillar is specifically designed to eliminate one type of negotiation until your brain has no other option but to accept the new reality. You're not just adding habit, you're removing the very possibility of quitting.
Okay, first up, public declaration. Raphael wrote a super simple post. For the next 90 days, I will do my morning routine every single day without fail. And he posted it on his social media. Now, why? This isn't about getting applause. It's about tapping into a deep, primal human fear. Neuroscientists have shown that our brains basically treat social rejection like a threat to our actual survival. By going public, Raphael made failure not just an internal disappointment, but a public loss of face. All of a sudden, the short-term pain of doing the workout was way less than the long-term pain of public humiliation. He basically weaponized his own ego against his laziness. Next, he had to get rid of the when negotiation. He chose 5 a.m. But let's be really clear. This wasn't about becoming a morning person or trying to optimize his hormones. He chose 5 a.m. because at 5 a.m. the world is asleep. There are no urgent emails, no unexpected phone calls, nobody asking for a favor. He created this little pocket of time that was immune to the day's chaos. By fixing the time, he removed one huge decision from his morning, and that saved his precious willpower for the actual task. The time isn't the point. The fixedness of the time is the point. But his clever brain found another loophole, negotiating what to do. Should I do push-ups today or maybe go for a run? Maybe I'll just meditate a little longer. To shut this down, he put the 3rd pillar in place, an identical practice. He defined the exact routine right down to the reps and the minutes, and he did it in the exact same order every single day. There's this myth that you need to keep your body guessing, but for habit formation, the exact opposite is true. Variety is where consistency goes to die. He wasn't training his muscles, he was training his mind to run on autopilot. He was carving a neural pathway so deep that the routine became as automatic as brushing his teeth. So Raphael had the public pressure, he had the fixed time, and he had the identical routine. His system was strong, but it was also brittle. It was kind of a fair-weather system. What happens when life, like it always does, throws a giant wrench in the works? This final pillar, this is the masterstroke. It's what turns a strong system into an anti-fragile one. These are the assassins of all good intentions, aren't they? A business trip, a nasty head cold, your in-laws showing up out of the blue. This is where most systems just completely shatter. We fall into this all-or-nothing thinking. Well, I can't do my full workout in this hotel room, so I guess I'll just skip it today. That's the gap. And as the monks know, the second you allow a gap, you've opened the door for your old self to come rushing right back in. And this is the brilliant solution, pre-solved obstacles. Raphael didn't wait for chaos to hit. He planned for it. He literally sat down and made a list of every possible thing that could derail him. And then he created a simple if-then plan for each one. And notice the key here. The modified plan isn't about getting a good workout. The goal when you're sick is not to build muscle. It's to maintain the chain of continuity. Just 2 push-ups, just 1 minute of meditation. It's a ridiculously low bar, but it does the single most important thing. It closes the gap. It tells your brain, no matter what, we show up. The practice continues. This completely removes the need for stressful, in-the-moment decisions when you're already tired or sick. The answer is already written down. This analogy is just everything. Your practice has to become a river. On great days, it's a roaring flood of energy and progress. On bad days, when you're sick or exhausted or totally overwhelmed, it might shrink down to a tiny trickle. But it never, ever stops. The water always moves. The moment it stops, it's not a river anymore. It's a stagnant pond. The moment you allow a 0 day, you are no longer a person who practices. You are a person who used to practice. The trickle is what keeps you flowing. So what happens when you weave these 4 pillars together? When you make your commitment public, fixed, identical, and totally chaos-proof? The result isn't just that you build a new habit. It's so much more profound than that. You actually trigger a fundamental transformation of your identity. At the end of his 90-day challenge, this is what Raphael started to hear. Not "good job" or "hey, I'm impressed." He heard, "Dude, your consistency is scary." His friends were genuinely unsettled by this new level of discipline. When your consistency starts to make other people uncomfortable, you know you've achieved something real. because your very existence proves that what they call impossible is simply a choice they aren't willing to make. You become a living, breathing refutation of their excuses.
And this brings us to the ultimate, most important takeaway from this entire system. We have to completely reframe how we think about what consistency even is. It is not about the daily struggle, the grind, the white-knuckle fight against your own desires. That's the reversible, amateur version.
This is the true goal. The Gyoji system isn't a life hack. It's an identity-forging tool. The objective is to get to a point where the practice is so deeply wired in, so non-negotiable, that not doing it feels more weird and wrong than doing it. Your internal monologue just shifts from, ugh, I have to do my push-ups to, it's 5 a.m., time for push-ups. It's not a decision anymore, it's just who you are. It's what you do. This system is a crucible. It is designed for the death of your inconsistent, negotiating, excuse-making self, and for the birth of someone new. Someone who is defined not by their intentions, but by their actions. Someone unbreakable. It will fundamentally change you. So the only question that's left isn't whether you can do it, but who you will choose to become when your discipline becomes frighteningly, beautifully, and unstoppably consistent.